I ran away from heartbreak. Got nothing in return for my pain. I never thought I'd be so empty, so alone and afraid. Wasn't looking for a lover. Nobody understood where I've been. I guess I thought I needed more time to protect my love from potential offense. So I then you and you, but I so you and I'm not surprised by what I found, 'cause I know I needed something different, and it had to be you. Out the blue, somebody who would listen, and it had to be you. Out of all the people to reply, my love couldn't be just anyone. My baby, it had to be you. I didn't seem to notice that you were checking for me. We were just friends, but we started building trust, and my fragile heart started to bend. Yeah, I should have paid attention. You would have been the obvious choice, but I needed time to see clearly, dig deep and cut through the noise. So I, then you, and you, but I, so you, and I'm not surprised by what I found, 'cause I know I needed something different, and it had to be you. Out the blue, somebody who would listen, and it had to be you. Out of all the people to revive my love, couldn't be just anyone. My baby, it had to be you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to talk about modern day class warfare, some local examples, at least from my opinion. And, you know, there is a lot of media out there locally about the FC Cincinnati, is it TQL Stadium that is open? Have you driven downtown to see it? If you live in the greater Cincinnati area, you should. It's worth your time. One of the wonders of Cincinnati now. And they had a big old press conference, and the ownership and all the people involved with FC Cincinnati were there. And the local media captured some quotes from the Linder family, which are just absolutely ripe for a conversation. We'll put it that way. We must discuss this morning. Have you heard what your Suck MC governor is doing? I think it's nothing more than modern day class warfare. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it this morning. 513-873-7134. Your sucky MC Republican Governor Mike has no spine to whine, is in cahoots with business owners to force people off of unemployment back into their working conditions. They're claiming that's the reason why Ohioans are not going back to work at pizza parlors, is because of the $300 extra unemployment benefits that your governor has just turned his back on, because they want to force, you know, certain people back into bad working conditions and to being underpaid. So, yeah, it's the unemployment fault. Has nothing to do about the wage and the working conditions whatsoever, right? It's all about unemployment. So we'll discuss this morning. 513-873-7134. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. The last honest place in Cincinnati media, bar none. This is the last honest place in Cincinnati media for a couple reasons. Number one, we built to be honest. We are built to be honest with you about what's going on. That's the whole point. Straight, no chaser, unfiltered opinions about what's happening locally, regionally, nationally, culturally, If it impacts us and our audience, then of course we'll be talking about it here. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. That is my number. If you should decide to give me a call this morning, I will be here to receive it. I'm very, very interested in your opinions about what's going on in the world in particular. And I love to chat it up with you today. Let's chat it up. Your morning destination for interesting conversation. It's been a hell of a week, too. So a little bit of a week in review. I mean, people might forget because so much has happened between Monday and today. But when we started on Monday, remember the big topic was, a candidate for city council who had decided to suspend his campaign because of some tweets that came out, some things that he had tweeted on social media. So we had a conversation about that for about a day or so. Very, very interesting. And what's happened since then? Well, keep listening, and I'll make sure that by the end of the show, you are up to date on everything that's going on, or should I say almost everything that's going on. No one show can possibly hit everything. All right. Hit your boy with a like or a share this morning. I really appreciate you in advance. Again, that's just the way they set up Facebook. It's set up to share. So I know people support this show. They support what we're doing with CDM. Here's another way you can support. Hit me with a like and a share. I need that combo package. I need both. I need the like and the share. Means everything. Good morning to my people on Spreaker and Tune In. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. My audio files like to get down with the audio stream. Cool. We here for it. Good morning. Again, hit me with a share. Means everything. I appreciate you in advance. You can even share it to your story. You can share it and tag a bunch of your friends. Tagging can be a very effective way of letting people know what you're doing and where you are in terms of Facebook. Go ahead and hit me with a share or tag it. Or maybe you know some Facebook groups where you think this kind of content will be highly appreciated. Great. I'm with all of that. I'm here for all of that, people. Good morning to you. I want to talk a little bit about modern day class warfare. It's happening right in front of us. I got two examples for you. One is the FC Cincinnati Stadium, and they keep trying to tell us that they're going to make new money millionaires. I don't believe it. From what I see the same old billionaires and millionaires getting paid. That's not creating new money millionaires. And the commissioner for MLS, that's Major League Soccer, that's the league that governs FC Cincinnati, he just told on himself. It's in the local paper. Big front page above the fold, at least digitally speaking. He told on himself. MLS Commissioner Don Garber visited the TQL Stadium during the ribbon cutting this month. And during that, he talked about why the league was so determined to put the stadium in the West End. Stop right there. Does anybody remember the history of this whole FC Cincinnati thing? And again, I know at this point it's moot. A lot of people say, well, it's built now, Nate. I just got to make this point because that's what I do. That's what I do. Okay. But I remember, and my question was, and this is a question that endured over a time span. At that point, I was doing a podcast with PG Sittenfeld, and we were debating it on the podcast. And he was in favor of it. Or first, he appeared to be on the fence, and then he was in favor of it. To me, there were question marks that just need to be answered. Now, let me add this caveat to this conversation. I hope the best for the city of Cincinnati. I hope this all turns out for the people of the West End, and I hope everybody makes a lot of money because that's what it's all about. Miss me with all this legacy talk. Legacy schmegacy. It's about making money, period. But if you remember, and put on your way back thinking caps for a second, and remember when this whole conversation started, there were 3 sites allegedly that FC Cincinnati was looking for. They were looking at a site in Oakley. They were talking about a site in Northern Kentucky, and they were talking about the West End. And I told you that I felt like FC Cincinnati were being not the best neighbors because they were lying to the people. It was always about the West End. But they played this game. They played neighborhoods. They pitted neighborhoods against one another. They pitted Cincinnati against Northern Kentucky. Like, oh, we got to take this opportunity or they're going to go to Northern Kentucky. They were never going to Northern Kentucky. They were never going to Oakley. It was always about the West End. Now, how do I know this? I know this because MLS put their plans on their website. This ain't magic. It's just simply reading. They had their plans and they had the particulars for what they were looking for host sites, for expansion teams. And the description fit West End. It didn't fit Oakley. It didn't fit Northern Kentucky. It fit the West End. But now the Major League Soccer commissioner, Don Garber, at the Ribbon Company, he comes out and just says it. It was always the West End. Remember they played this game like, well, is it going to go to Oakley? Is it going to go to Northern Kentucky? That was gay. Those are lies. Those are lies to make it seem like we had to make a choice real quick. And that's the powers that be, do that every single time when it comes to one of these damn sports stadiums. They did the same thing many years ago when there was a big conversation about whether Hamilton County taxpayers should support the Bengals. They pitted us against other cities like, oh, they're going to go to Baltimore. They were never going to go to Baltimore because Baltimore was smart. Baltimore has self-esteem. Baltimore wasn't insecure as a city, right? Baltimore's deal was nothing. It was nowhere near as favorable as the lopsided deal that the Brown family eventually got from Hamilton County voters and we're still paying for. Oh, and by the way, it came up as a campaign issue during the last Hamilton County commissioner's race. Where is Andy from Indian Hills right now? You remember Andy from Indian Hills? Alicia Reese is wrong for that. That was hilarious. Where's Andy from Indian Hills right now? Probably back in Indian Hills. But he was running on the idea that if he became the commissioner, he was going to renegotiate the whole deal all by himself. Remember all of this? Do you have any experience negotiating these kind of deals? Well, no. But I'm sure I can figure it out once I get down there. It was hilarious. Oh my God. Thank God the people were too smart for that. Just pardon my entire workout. I got to get it in the morning sometime. Hold on. What is this? Like I got something on my beard. Let me double check this real quick. Remember that? And then Don Garber comes out and says, nah, we always wanted FC. We always wanted the West End. They always wanted the West End. Always. And they wanted the West End because there was a lot of factors. A lot of factors. Somebody says the cover is still. Yeah. I still got the cover up. Give me 1 second here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah. There we go. Good morning to you. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Damn. Can I do this? I got this. Good morning to you. Now, where was I? Yeah, we're talking about modern day class warfare. So there was some interesting quotes from the Linder family, and again, I know they do a lot of philanthropy. They've given a whole lot more than I probably ever will, right? And props to their father for starting United Dairy Farmers and being such a great entrepreneur. He was able to, transform his family into one of the wealthiest families in the world. I read something that said not too long ago that the Linder family was the 126th richest family in America. The 126th richest family. And I thought, damn, 126, that's like 1%. That's like 1% of 1%. And again, I guess in America, everybody's got that kind of a shot. The father started United Dairy Farmers. Remember this? We all know the story of the Linders. I think most of us do. Can't get away from it. Well, anyway, here's an article written by Tanya O'Rourke this week. Linder family speaks on what FC Cincinnati means for legacy and community. Okay. Quote, I think the reason why the families, originally got involved together to invest in something like this was the wave of legacy to our community to help to continue the tremendous trajectory of professional soccer and MLS. And so can't wait for the first game. I'll probably cry again and probably get emotional again at that time. But I love it when you look at the audience and supportive fans that we've had. There's lots of families. That's a quote from Carl Linder III. And, his father, Carl Linder Jr., helped to rescue the Reds. They were owners of the Reds for about 5 years. Then they sold it to the Castellini family. And apparently the Linders watched as the West End Pride youth soccer team took the pitch for the first time at the stadium's opening back on May 1st. Yes, shout out to West End Pride. Shout out. Shout out. That's a great thing. It's very interesting. It's not too long, but it's very interesting. And just some of these quotes just need to be challenged. And I'm the man to do it. A couple of quotes that stand out to me that I'm like, wait a minute, let's come on now. Let's not lay it on too thick. Let me see. So here's a quote from Martha Linder. Quote, he sees things, speaking about Carl Linder III, he sees things that other people don't see. He's got a frame of mind for seeing things that aren't, but can be. I give him a lot of credit. That's a beautiful thing. And in no way do I doubt that Carl Linder III has amazing vision. But it needs to be said that it's real easy to have vision when you're worth a couple $1 billion. Like, who couldn't have vision when you got $2 billion? Let's be easy with all of this. I know we like to lay it on thick with certain people here, but if you had $2 billion right now, you'd have amazing vision. Everybody got vision. That's number one. Everybody in this audience has a vision, but you may not have the connects and the resources to make that vision actually happen. It's two completely different things. The Lenders are not the only people in Cincinnati with vision. Carl Linder III, I'm sure he's a very intelligent man, is not the only man in Cincinnati with vision, but he's one of the few men in Cincinnati with $2 billion. Let's keep it real. Stop it. Knock it off. And there's another quote here in which he talks about the legacy of families, all the families, his grandchildren, and the families of the fans of FC Cincinnati. And I'm like, well, hold on, Carl III. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference between your grandchildren and, let's say, my grandchildren. So my grandchildren, when they go to FC Cincinnati, they're going to be consumers. They're going to be customers. Your grandchildren are going to own it. So there's a big difference in the legacy there. It ain't all the same. For me, if you really, the real test and story for me, and I just look at things differently for FC Cincinnati, is not if it makes the Lenders and all the other wealthy families involved more money, because they already rich. To me, it will be how many new money millionaires have you created? That should be the only rubric that we look at in terms of judging success of FC Cincinnati. They were already wealthy. They already got billions. So how is their grandchildren getting more success for everybody else? You got to be kidding me. Y'all need to stop. Local media should be ashamed of themselves, but they tell these same old narratives over and over again, afraid to step outside the lines. Again, that's why I'm here. The fuck is you talking about? Legacy? The hell? Your grandchildren are going to own it. My grandchildren may not be able to afford to get into it. What? But that's what passes as, wealth building in Cincinnati. Building wealth for people that are already wealthy. They're already wealthy. Wealthier than most people in the world. Like, not just the country. Most people, wealthier than most people in the world. But I'm supposed to be dancing around like this is some kind of great thing. Okay, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. If you can make some money off of it. If you ain't making no money off of it, it's just something to do. If you ain't making no money off of it, it's just something to do. Now, if you're making some money off of it, it's an investment. So again, that's the way I judge it. We'll see if that actually works. I know they're working with different people and things like that. I hope the best for everybody involved, but I mean, come on now. And the local media would not ever dare to push back on the Lenders because they're far too influential. To raise some of these issues and questions I'm doing, they would never do it. This is the only place you're going to get that in Cincinnati. Because everybody else is scared out of their minds about something. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. What do you think? 513-873-7134. Here it is. This is from Martha Linder, quote, or a quote that's attributed to her, because I didn't hear it come out of her mouth, so I have to put it that way. I think that's part of legacy, but it's going to be our children, our grandchildren, and their children. Your children own it. It's going to be a whole different vibe when your grandchildren go to the FC Cincinnati Stadium because they own it. It's not the same. Quit acting like you building some legacy because you gave us an opportunity to go watch some people play fucking soccer. That's legacy now? The hell? But this is just my thoughts. These are just my thoughts. Like I said, if we ain't making new money millionaires, that means we just making more money for the millionaires and 100 millionaires and billionaires that are already there. How is that success? But I know in Cincinnati, that's success. You know what's funny? In the last, I'd say 2 weeks, I've had 3 separate conversations, all with black females, all highly intelligent, highly motivated, very conscious individuals. They've all said the same thing to me. I hate it here. Speaking about Cincinnati, all 3 of them, I'm like, man, that's interesting. I keep hearing this from these highly educated, intelligent black women. And I'm like, what is it about this city? I've heard it from the dating scene because some of you single dudes, y'all game is trifling. I feel for the ladies out there. And then these corny ass Cincinnati dudes. And then I hear people criticizing the political environment. Like people want to criticize, but then don't turn out to vote or don't get involved. I always got some dumb ish to say, but really no action behind it. That gets old after a while. And then I've heard people criticize, the ongoing struggles with racism. They'll say one thing and do another, or they'll smile in your face, stab you in your back at the same time, right? It gets old. Interesting. We can change that around together, but we got to be more serious about it. So I thought that was interesting. So we finally got the truth and I already knew the truth from Don Garber. And I'm glad. I mean, we way past it at this point, and most people don't care about it, but I do. So I want to make that point. And I said it from the very beginning. They was playing us. Oh, we might go to Oakley. Oh, we might go to Kentucky. They were never going to do either one of those. It was always the West End. But in Cincinnati, you can always find some Negroes that'll sell out and get in front of cameras and say whatever you want to say. That's one thing about Cincinnati. No matter where you are and what the issue is, you can always get some Negroes. You can always get some black people to stand in front that's got a bit of a name, that's got some recognition, to stand in front of a camera and say anything you want them to say for the right price. That's so that you can always find that in Cincinnati. And there's a few go-tos. I'm just keeping it real. If somebody don't like it, so goddamn what? It is. You think I'm talking about you? I probably am. It is what it is, but that's part of the problem in the city. You can always find some sellout Negroes that stand in front of the camera and say, this is a good idea. I love this idea. All it takes some of this. And there's plenty of this moving around the city. Plenty of that. I thought that was quite interesting. 513-873. For a team that's losing. That's the other thing about it. For a team that's losing. They ain't even winning nothing. What made FC Cincinnati so cool is that they were winning. And like every night you turn on the news, you see the sports reporters like FC Cincinnati won again. You see the crowd. Man, as soon as they switched over, they've been cellar dwellers. Just what we need. Another vehicle for rich people to get richer with a sports team that doesn't meet the expectations of the fans. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, it's called the Bengals. We already did this. But again, who am I? It's the will of the people. We way past these critiques, I know, but call it a vent. Maybe I'm venting. Who knows? What do you think? 513-873-7134. Ready to explode is what they're saying about FC Cincinnati. Can we just get a winning fucking record? Y'all way explode. Can we just get a winning record? That's what I say. Like with these sports, I'll say this again. And there's been a lot written about this. Shout out to the homie Dave Zyron. I got to kick back in with him again. He's always a great guest. He's written extensively about this. I don't think that sports stadiums are good investments for the people. I'll say it again. I'm looking for the evidence. I don't believe it. I remain unconvinced that major sports stadium, major league, soccer, football, baseball, where is the return of investment for the people? Other than you get to say that you have a team in your town. You get to wear a t-shirt. I've been waiting for years. I mean, look at Cleveland. Cleveland For years and years and years, the narrative with Cleveland is that they hadn't won a championship, as if that was some kind of big deal. They hadn't won a Major League Baseball. They hadn't won, hadn't won an NFL championship, hadn't won an NBA championship for years and years and years. Then going back not too long ago, LeBron James led his Cleveland team to history, and they won a championship. Now, I got people that live in Cleveland, and I'm here to tell you that for the rank and file, everyday working taxpayers, not a damn thing changed. Nothing changed whatsoever. The people at the stadium didn't Gund Arena, they didn't get any extra money. It's just the rich got rich and the poor got a feeling. You feel as if you won something. You didn't win a damn thing. Nothing. But some higher ticker prices and higher t-shirt prices the year after that. I just gotta call the games out, man. I can't let my people out here be looking crazy like we really winning something. We ain't winning unless you are on paper as an owner or you got some other business related with it, you ain't winning a damn thing. You ain't winning nothing with these sports franchises. You don't get a ring. You don't get a championship banner unless you go on Amazon or order one yourself. You can get your own ring made. Other than that, you ain't getting shit. But they got us so programmed that because your hometown team in sports wins something, that you're winning something. You ain't winning shit. Wake up. They are winning. They're winning because it's theirs. Get the ownership. You are not winning anything whatsoever. Not a damn thing. But I know. Ease up, Nate. Ease up. I know. I can hear it already. Let's talk about your spineless ass governor, Mike DeWine. It's a Friday, so I'm relaxing the language just a little bit. Spineless ass Mike DeWine. Spineless ass Mike DeWine. This man is so spineless. Y'all should be embarrassed. And I say y'all because I didn't vote for this Gilligan. Y'all, some of y'all did. But Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced that effective June 26, Ohio will stop participating in the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program, which allows people collecting jobless benefits to receive an extra $300 a week. The federal program is set to end in September. So what do you got there, 4 or 5 months? Why is Mike DeWine ending this federal program? It doesn't cost Ohio anything. I'll tell you why. It's because it's class warfare. He wants to force people to go back to work in pizza parlors. He wants to force people to go back and work in these restaurants and bars where you're overworked, underpaid, you got no benefits. Yeah, all across the states, man, you got these business owners that are belly aching to the governor, and they've done so successfully because they can't get people to work. And so now the Republicans across the state, because it ain't just Ohio. That's why I say Mike DeWine is a follower. But that's what the will of the people in Ohio was. But anyway, so, these governors now want to resuscitate their economies. They want people to go back to work, go back to work, go back to work. That's why I think they're going a little bit too fast with ending the mask mandates and things like that. But we are where we are. You know what I'm saying? Like this kind of stuff would shock me a year ago, but I've been living with humans worse than COVID for a year now. So I already know that humans can be far worse than COVID. Mike DeWine is way worse than COVID could ever be. Way worse. Because he's duplicitous and he has multiple agendas. COVID only has one. It wants to replicate. That's it. Again, it's called the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program. You look it up for yourself. Look at it for yourself and you tell me what you find. $300 extra a week. What is that? $1,200 a month? Oh, that's too much for you. Because if you're a working class individual, they don't value your time. They only value you when you're a part of somebody, you're a cog in somebody else's machine, right? When you're a wheel in somebody else's design, that's it. So they want to force these people to get off of your unemployment, get off your lazy ass. That's how they probably look at it, and go back to the pizza parlor. Go back to making them chicken wings and frying that chicken. Go back to waiting tables. How dare you rest? How dare you try to stack some chips and live without working for somebody else? It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't really think it really gets to the crux of the issue. Is that having an impact on why some people are not working? Sure it is. But the real issue, maybe. But the real issue is the working conditions, the lack of benefits, and the stagnant wages. That's the real reason why these people don't want to go back to working your damn pizza parlor. It's the real reason why people don't want to go back to bussing tables, because they know they're working themselves to the bone and not really getting ahead. Yeah, but this is some of that compassionate conservatism. That's what, quote, if you look at why jobs are not being filled, this is spineless Mike DeWine. I'm sure it's multiple reasons, but wherever you go in and the market is distorted in that sense, you have certain consequences. The market is distorted, meaning that people don't have to go to these dead end jobs to get money because the federal government is giving them an extra $300 a week. It just goes to show you just how uh, not attractive some of these jobs are. And I just don't agree with it. This is sucking MC Lieutenant Governor John Husted, who used to be the Secretary of State. And when he tried to do everything he could to make it more advantageous for Republicans to win elections here in the state of Ohio. Quote, all of the data shows that there are an ample number of jobs available. Individuals that had hesitancy before can now get the vaccine. So they want to push you back to the jobs. Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber President and CEO Jill Meyer applauded the rollback. What the? She did what? And encouraged Ohioans who are able to work to find jobs. That's easy for her to say, because she might be making $200,000 a year. And what is she doing? Sitting in a series of meetings all day. All the fuck she doing is going to one meeting to one meeting to one meeting to one meeting. She ain't really doing no hard work. She might be thinking. That's about it. It's so easy for the CEO of the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber, Jill Meyer, to applaud the rollback, to force working class people to go back into substandard conditions, definitely substandard pay. It's just something. This is just straight up class warfare. Straight up class warfare. We're gonna force you. And meanwhile, the real issue is the working conditions, the lack of benefits, and the pay. If you pay people more, if you offer people benefits that they thought they can get something out of, if you gave them an environment in which they really wanted to work in, they would return. But that would be an investment that some of these employers don't want to do. I mean, these belly aching employers, I don't have no sympathy for you. If you want people to be attracted to your job and your employment opportunity, then fatten up the goose then. Fatten up the goose. Make it worth their while. Put some more zeros on that check. And guess what? People will show up. Give them some benefits. But then if you do that, then you taking money from your profits. So I get, that's how capitalism works. If they pay people what they produce, they couldn't capitalize. So they have to pay you less than what you produce so they can capitalize. They can make money. I get it. I ain't hating. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hold on 1 second, Tony. Hold on. I don't even have you plugged up, man. Give me 1 second. Let me plug you into the masses real quick. See what's on Tony's mind. Hey, Tony, I think you're connected, brother. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, you and the choppers. I wanted to, always catch later end of your program. So before everything get cooking for the day, I wanted to drop a couple flows on yesterday's show.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, first off, man, I want to give kudos to Black Russia. It takes a big man to, especially get on the airways to, to disclose about getting help. We all, well, not we all, but it's a lot of men out there who, we've had our heart broken, and I'm not a big fan of taking it to social media. I just think that's just bad business. Even though I play the devil's advocate, I was all in on the Carlos and Danielle show. I ain't gonna lie, it was entertaining as hell, But and he's an old buddy of mine too, so I was like, damn, this is entertaining. But but when it got to, just looking back on it, when it got real visceral, talking about deceased children and all that, it was like, okay, this went too far, So I'm glad I'm glad he disengaged before going super hard. Because it's just bad business dealing with social media. Because you're dealing with people who don't know you, don't know her, don't know y'all situation, but they want to add their 2 cents in and egg it on. For likes. And I mean, I say that from dealing with, right now I got younger family members airing their family beefs on social media. And I don't know. I just think it's, for my friends, I think it's punk ass to do it. So I'm not really a big fan of that. So, just kudos to him for, seeking help and, timing a better woman to take, to help bleed that off. That's all, that's all I can say for him, I ain't too much on who he's, they affiliate with, but I like the Grafton brothers. So, so I'm always wanting them to win. Yeah. But, also, man, I don't know if you talked about it. Well, I don't know if heard about it. The House hearing the other day on the insurrection. They had a couple of representatives who were just straight up lying. Yeah, and I know Mahler definitely checked that out. Where what's his name? Andrew Clyde from Georgia. He was saying that and they were showing video of the insurrection. He was saying that they were walking around the Capitol in an orderly fashion while they were, while you see a split screen and them storming and the black officer running from them and stuff. And yeah, and so they I mean they're just, and they said, other than people knowing that January 6th was, they said to stop calling it an insurrection. If people didn't know better, it looked like a normal tourist visit. It was like, what the hell? Like, so drop. I mean, this is your party. This is your party drop. So, and the Mike DeWine, the vaccine lottery. I mean, we all know Mike DeWine's he's a gutless little troll. Everybody knows that. For the Republicans. But I also about the thinking about that lottery, because when I first heard it, I was like, me, man, I was like, man, that's some bullshit. But when I thought about it, I was like, okay, maybe it's some reverse psychology here, because you already got a population of people who are just like, nah, something's up. I'm not going to get vaccinated. But then you come up with this lottery thing, and they're like, oh, I'm really not going to do it. So I'm starting to think like maybe this is their plan to further raise people's suspicion. And I mean, I'm fully vaccinated, and so far so good. I'm cool, So I'm
which vaccine did you get?
Pfizer.
Pfizer. Okay. What was your second? What was the second shot like? Did you have some symptoms after the second shot?
Second shot wore me out.
Wore you out?
I mean, I was, yeah. The first one, just the arm was sore and stuff. I mean, I ain't getting no like sick or nothing like that. It's just the arm, like any other shot, your arm just feel like it's weighted down. But the second one just took all my energy, and I kind of saw that. I kind of anticipated that because someone else had told me that. So I had like scheduled that Monday, because I got it on Saturday. So I had scheduled like that Monday off. So, and that Monday, which was good because I was no good that Monday.
Damn. How long did it take you to get back on your feet?
That pretty much that Monday. I mean, I just, chilled and just rested. I mean, it felt like I had like been running all day, just beat. But Tuesday I was fine. I've been fine since. So, if there's any adverse effects, it ain't happened yet. But if I wouldn't have got it, and I, hearing this lottery mess, I probably would have been like, nah, I ain't gonna get it now. And so that's what made me think like, okay, this is reverse psychology here. To further, widen that river of doubt in people. Because I don't put it past the Republicans to do that. I just don't. They low down like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing, and also there's one thing that you said yesterday that really struck with me. You was talking about foreigner stores. I put it that way. I'm trying not to say any racial names or nothing like that, but foreigner stores, how they talk to people, and how all it takes for you is one time you ain't doing business with them. I used to deliver to a bunch of them, over in Roseline, off of Redden Road, all up in there, all those marathons and stuff like that. I delivered there for like a decade or so, and man, it used to just burn me how they talk to our kids. They would just, what the fuck you want? Little kid want to buy some penny candy. They talk to them like that. And they would talk to elders like that too. And as a matter of fact, man, one of my coworkers' mama got talked crazy to by one of them, and I met her outside and asked her, like, look, I know I work with your son. If your son heard how he was talking to you, he would have did something to you. Oh, we just play like that. No, oh, sweetheart, it's like no, our people just keep going back to them, man. And I tell you this real quick, there was a store that opened up years ago, and you can see it on the corner of Redden Road. I know we got people that have outside Cincinnati, but if you're from here, Redden Road and Section Road, there used to be a store at that corner. There was these two black women, and they did everything that everybody talks about doing. Talks about wanting to do. They pulled one was widowed, one was retired. They put their money together and they opened a dollar store. And it was clean, respectful. They only had two rules: no lottery, no liquor. And like I delivered, they were real pleasant. They were just real pleasant to deliver to, and nobody went. They rather went a block up to the Ashland, where they got talked to like garbage, where their kids got talked to like garbage. They got price gouged like a mug, and it just shows, like, liquor and drink. That's what this Mike DeWine thing remind me of, man. You want black people to do something, throw in some liquor and a lottery, and they'll jump to it. But that's about it, man. I'm about to get ready to go back to work, man. But tomorrow, man, I get another ring on my tree of life, man. I'll be another year older.
All right. Happy birthday, brother.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna kick it with the family in the evening, but in the morning, my present to myself, I'm gonna be doing tactical training with Ride and Die. So I'm looking forward to
nice. Yeah, tell the fellas I said what's up.
I will do that. But everybody out there, have a great weekend. Be safe. And one last thing, man. One last thing I forgot. I just thought about, man. When you had Junior when Junior came up with his toys, he got a following, right?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
got a following. Yeah, man. My boy, man. When he see Junior, he tried to like grab something that he got, and I got the Marvel Universe up in my house too. So when he saw him with a couple of Avengers, he went and grabbed Thanos, Black Panther. He grabbed his set. It was like, hey, come back, man. He came back back over to me like, man, Avengers Assemble. I'm like, man, come on, man.
Yeah, he must have heard. He must have heard you talking about him, and he was in the other room. Say good morning.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I can't see. But what's up, Junior? Yeah, you got to follow him, man. But so he loved it, man. He was like, oh yeah, let's play Avengers, But like I said, man, have a good weekend, and I'll holler at you later.
All right, brother. Thank you for the call, and again, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's Tony. Right. That's Tony right there. Appreciate him. Talked about a little bit of everything. Some interesting flows too. Started with Black Russia. Yeah, that did happen this week. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, things happen. I remember old Carlos and Danielle. They jump into the show every once in a while over the years. Carlos has been in. I remember he got into it with Akeem. Remember that? Why am I bringing that up? Because it was drama. It was a touch point. And Danielle has dropped in too. I haven't seen her in a minute, but she drops into the show every once in a while. So good people, good people. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate them participating in that. It was interesting. You know what I'm saying? I meant no disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Especially not to the brother Carlos Jeff, because he's got some things he had to deal with, um, in his life that I have a lot of empathy for. But that was a lot of fun. The situation with Black Russia, I ain't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I didn't want to touch that. I let them deal with that over there. But it's just relationships, man. And going on social media, like I said, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I mean, I understand the impulse. I get it. We all human. You've been hurt. You want to embarrass the other person and let people know, but nobody's gonna care. That's number one. You put that on Facebook, they'll click on it and you'll see like the wild faces, emojis and stuff, and people be putting up popcorn memes and gifs and all that. But are people eating popcorn? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? But they don't really care. And it's not gonna change anything. Just do you. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Good morning. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. This is Chris.
What up, Chris?
I was kind of caught you. Now, honestly, I listen to you as much as I can, and I agree with 90% of the stuff that you talk about all the time. And this morning, though, you came out just, I mean, I don't know if it sounded like you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and you just want to tell everybody off. Now, but I do have a question on when you opened up. You're talking about FC Cincinnati. I have nothing in the game because I live in Kentucky. So but one thing I do know is I understand is, you said that they were making new millionaires or giving new people money, and you just seemed like you just brought it in, like they ain't helping you out. They're helping you out as they're not helping me because I don't have anything to offer them. But I know a company that does and that's partnered with them that's also a Black company. So my question is, who are you talking about if they're not helping you out?
I remember saying that. I think just to reiterate what I said, I don't remember using that exact phrase. So let me just reiterate what I said to the best of my knowledge. What I said is, for me, the way I would judge success of FC Cincinnati is if that whole process makes new money millionaires rather than making the same old people who are already wealthy more wealthy. Right. It seems to me like everybody else thinks that just because they built it, that's the success of it. I'm like, okay, you built it, but are we making new money millionaires?
What if I told you that, like I said, that one partner is a small storefront, Black-owned business that they've partnered with for their pill? They partner with them so they can sell it's not just Target, it's not just Walmart, it's not just all the big box stores, but there's a small Black-owned storefront business that partners with FC Cincinnati. Now, is that what you're talking about? That they're not making new millionaires or their kids' legacies or this, that, and the third? Because
that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying that's the way that I will judge it. The way I'll judge the success of FC Cincinnati is if the situation that you said, if those kind of people through their partnership with FC Cincinnati make big money. That's how I would judge it.
So we don't know. We won't know until 5 years from now if this statement is true, right?
Right. We won't know. But when we get to 5 years from now, I'm saying that's what we need to be looking at. It should be bigger than just X's and O's and how many wins and what the market share is for the ownership group. It should be, well, how many other folks did you make rich? That you made new money millionaires?
Another question I have for you. Do you think that them taking away the federal fund, spineless DeWine, you think that's because, you know what, we got to do this. We got to get the companies, these little stores or whatever, open and staffed because we're getting ready to open completely back up. And right now they're struggling on our behalf. But, we just can't open back up and not be fully staffed. You think that could be a route of the reasoning?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons. But whatever the case may be, the tactics, in my opinion, are class warfare. So if you a small pizzeria or restaurant and you struggling to attract employees, it's not because the federal government is offering $300 more per week. It's because your employment opportunity isn't attractive enough. What you're offering
You
for
think?
potential employees isn't good enough for them.
Well, you think it's because I'm a dishwasher and I want to come in making what the owners. Well, actually, some of the owners on some of these small businesses, they're barely making it. I mean, it may look good, but the smaller mom and pop stores, they're only owners probably only making, I probably say 40, 50,000 a year, but they do it because they love it. And you get a dishwasher come in. I mean, honestly, let's say a dishwasher makes $10 an hour. All right, $10 an hour, but he want to make $20 an hour for washing dishes and give his point of view of this, and it don't work out, and so then he quit. So I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could put it all on the store owner of, because I'm that person who started out and just I had to work. When I get up and go to work. When I found something better, found something I could do, I found that. I mean, I don't know. I'm torn on that because I worked through it all, and I didn't get an extra $300 to be out in the public and going through everything as they're talking about as a pandemic going on, and you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to wear your mask, and I deliver. So if I'm pushing in 80 pounds worth of product and I got a mask on and can barely breathe, and all this is going on, and I didn't get an extra $300 a month to sit at home, $300 a week.
Yeah, but it wasn't a pandemic during that time,
Oh, it was a pandemic when they was getting it.
Well, maybe you should have gotten $300 extra.
What the workers, the frontline workers got, is what they called us, was an extra $2 an hour, which that's only an extra $80 a week. So for somebody to stay at home when they could work and everybody was hiring, I see hiring signs everywhere. I mean, it may not be the best job, but I've heard of people staying home just because they get more money than what they make.
Right.
And so I don't know. That's where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. It's smart. And I'll say it again. If you can't afford to give people a competitive wage, then close your shop. If you can't afford to offer a competitive employment experience, then shut your doors.
Now
you just can't afford to be in business, and that's just what it is.
So what's affordable? What's affordable living?
What's affordable living?
What do you consider affordable?
Where are we going with this? I never said anything about affordable living. What I said is that they should be offering competitive wages. See, that's what the real issue is. The issue isn't the $300 per. That's just class warfare. That's this Republicans trying to manipulate people to go back to work in substandard conditions and substandard pay and substandard jobs. I'll say it again. We are looking at the wrong way. It ain't the unemployment benefits. It's the lack of attractiveness in the employment opportunity. If it was more attractive, if it offered more benefits, if it offered better pay, then people would choose that. As simple as that.
What that and the better pay? That's where I'm trying to get. What's better pay? What would be something that you think would attract and have that? All right, this is it right here. That's my dream job. And when I say my dream job is, there's not a job. Well, the job I have now would be my dream job. But when I was 18, 16, 20. That wasn't my dream job. And I was working as a server at a restaurant. And I was working in the restaurant. Wasn't my dream job. I know that I had to do it. I had responsibilities I had to take care of. So, I mean, what is it? That's where I'm at. it all depends on that person and their goal. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to be with this company. I can't afford it. So I got to make it to the next step. Exactly like what you did with what you have right now, the platform that you have right now. Things happen. You're like that. I'm not going to let them stop me. I'm going to go ahead and do what I do and make it better and let my voice be heard because, like you said, there's not another listening outlet that we have for our people, but it's going to give us the truth. But you did it. This is what you built. You didn't let your last company stop you. So let's think we can change that narrative just a little bit of, okay, if that's not, let's move to the next step. And don't let nothing stop you because you didn't, did you?
Yeah, but it's a whole different scenario. Again, let me reiterate this. This is class warfare. You know, what the Republicans and Mike DeWine is doing in cutting these benefits that are set to expire in September of this year anyway is nothing more than class warfare. We're going to try to force you to go back and work at jobs that are not attractive to you. The fact remains that the best way for employers to attract new workers is to pay good wages and offer decent benefits, period. That's across the board. And so if these I've read so many articles where they got quotes from local people here and you got the folks down in the Cincinnati Regional Chamber, they having the wrong conversation. What they need to be doing is having a conversation with the employer saying, look, if you really want to attract people, make it more attractive, fatten the goose, and people will work because they understand, like if I get a job, people are smart. They can look at the numbers and say, yeah, these benefits expire in September, but if I take this job now, I'm gonna make way more money, and people will do that. People will do that.
So we're telling everybody just to wait until they expire. And then we're still behind the 8 ball because we waited.
No.
When in 4 months, wait a minute, because in 4 months, what we have in 4 months, then it's another 7 months before they even get benefits of whatever kind that they can have. Because you got to wait 90 days to get the benefits. So right now they're behind the 8 ball.
Again, I think this is just some made up Republican fallacies. I don't believe it one bit. I don't believe it that across the board that this $300 federal benefit of unemployment is the reason why people aren't going back to work. I don't believe that. That's what the narrative is. It sounds good, but I don't believe it at all. The real issue is these jobs are not attractive enough to attract people to want to go work there. That's what the real issue is. So again, if you're one of these business owners, you need to fatten the goose, make it more attractive, and I guarantee you'll have people that want to work for you. But to try to take it off on these people that are using this $300 benefit as a lifeline, and that's what it's been, and it's set to expire in 4 months anyway, is nothing more than Republican class warfare. That's all it is, Chris. And we can try to dress it up and talk about what it was like when we was working, but it's not going to change the facts. That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is. Because there are studies out there that show that when people were getting a $600 benefit, that didn't keep them from working. People are smart. They looking at the numbers. Why would I go out here and work and I'm making just as much, if not more money, just by staying at home? That's called being smart. Period. And all this dignity of work crap, save all that. It's about paying the bills, whatever you got to do to pay the bills in a legal standpoint. And that's what it comes down to. And so shame on
I'm trying to figure out what bills we paying, because the same bills that what they put the hold on the rent, they put hold on electricity. You know what, if you're not working, you know, we'll let you pay it later. So paying what bills? They ain't paying any bills right now.
What about food? What about food? What about your internet?
So,
what about your cell phone? What about your child care?
They were giving free internet. What do you need child care for? You're at home.
I hear you.
And Spectrum was giving free internet out to whoever it was capable or reliable in their neighborhood. So they were giving that when the kids were at school, were at home.
Yeah, that was Cincinnati Bell.
So I mean, and the food, you can't. I mean, I can't agree with you on this one. I mean, you're coming up with all these, and I'm like, I can't. For some reason, I can't agree with you on this one. We will not see eye to eye on this one.
That's okay, brother. That's okay.
And
But I'm
yeah,
unmovable on this one. I mean, on this, I'm unmovable.
right.
I'm 100% because I know it for what it is. You know, this is nothing more than taking it out on working class and lower, if you want to say lower, speaking economically, not intelligently or anything like that, class folks. That's
Right.
all it is. There's nothing more than that.
Okay. But you have a great day, and I'll continue to listen to the show.
All right,
I'm
brother.
glad we
Thank you.
can agree to disagree.
Oh, absolutely. Always.
All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy. It's Chris, everybody. Appreciate the call. Chris checking in. Yeah, absolutely. Let me post a link for you. My good friends over at Policy Matters Ohio, they do great work. You ever hip to Policy Matters Ohio? Looks like they got a new executive director. I had a connection with the previous director. She's been on the show so many times I can't even remember. But they do a lot of policy work in the state of Ohio. They do analysis and do recommendations. And they did an analysis on ending the supplemental unemployment compensation. They say it's a mistake. And I'm going to post this link so people can check it out for themselves. I might even reach out to Hannah Hulbert, who looks like she's the author of this. I think she's the new executive director as well, to see if we can have her come on maybe sometime next week to talk about this. To me, it's quite clear. If you want to attract people to your job, then make it attractive. It's real simple. It's real simple. And Mike DeWine has no spine. He's got linked up with the governors of 10 other states, primarily Republican governors. They're all in cahoots together, and they got this great idea to end the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program. Now, here's the other thing. Why are we ending the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program when we're still in the middle of a pandemic? I know. The CDC says that if you're fully vaccinated, then you don't have to use a mask anymore. But I don't recommend that. I think you should stay masked up until the end of the year. Just be smart about it. Because there's a real push out here to push people back out into the street so that money can be made. And I understand it. I like money. I like money. I like it as well. This is nothing more than DeWine trying to save his second term. He wants to be a second term suck MC Gilligan ass spineless governor of Ohio. Worst thing we could ever do is reelect his man, which means that's probably what exactly we will do in Ohio, because that's how we work. That's how we work in this state sometime. Again, you got CEO Jill Meyer of the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber. She probably making $200,000 a year, talking about she applauds the rollback. It's easy for you to do that, Jill, from your ivory tower. Like, yeah, good answer. Cut the $300 federal, this ain't state, federal pandemic relief fund. Yeah, good answer, Jill Meyer. It's a terrible answer. That is a terrible answer. Let me see here. Let me go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, brother 252.
Hey, brother 252. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good, brother. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Absolutely, man. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you, man. I'm a little late, but I hear Chris, and I just want to chime in a little bit. I had a job years ago, about 20 years ago, man. I was delivering groceries here in the Carolinas, and the drivers, we was making about $120 a day. We had driver helpers on our trucks. They got paid by the hour. And some of these guys that get on some of these long routes, man, they get to making overtime. They was making as much or more than the drivers. And I remember thinking at the time, man, I rode with another driver one day, man. He hated these guys for this, for what they was making. But the problem was we were just making a competitive salary. We wasn't making premium wages. And I never forget it, man. Like I said, it was 20 years ago, and I hear the same thing in Chris's voice. But I'm gonna kind of give Chris a little help, man. I'm a working class man. I got 4 kids that work. During the pandemic, I had a son that was unemployed,
And in April, he had been unemployed about 2 months. And I was like, hey, man, sign up for this unemployment just to see. You never know. And he got unemployment, and he got the extra benefit. Was it $300 or $600? I mean, and he was pulling in a lot of money. A lot of people pulled in a lot of money, and he did well. But he saved a lot of that money. He completed. He wants to be a nurse, and he completed CNA degree. He took care of a lot of that money. Now, that money also helped people like me out because, me and my family, man, we was doing a lot of things to help other people that was less fortunate, people that was out of work. So, Chris, one thing that we have to do, Nate, we need to begin to read articles and bills like the farm bill that comes out every year. And, Nate, on a good day, farmers pay no taxes on any of their equipment. On a good day, farmers here, well, it's not just here in the Carolinas, farmers are paid not to harvest crops on a good day. And I think it's we need to read the farm bill, and we need to go back in the day and read the Berlin Conference and look at how these Europeans came in and subdivided Africa. And not only that, it continues into this day with this subdividing and subdivision. Yeah, man, there was a few people that blew some of that money, but that we was in a pandemic. I mean, pandemic, and it's nobody in my immediate family. Well, I did have a niece that had COVID. I think she's recovering, but we got to take these blinders off, man. It's not going to go away because, like I said, you look at the Berlin Conference. These folks have taught us how to think, and it still transpired. But my guy, I will also say this, Chris. My son took the unemployment. I wanted him to stay on the unemployment, but he went back to work January. I was like January of last year, man. He went to work. I had another son that was working, and yeah, he got the little $2 premium. He was a cashier at a grocery store, but I told him to stay where he was at. But he chose to switch jobs and go and work at a Lowe's Home Improvement, where he was, even exposed to more people. So I get it, man, that, we're looking at the jobs that we have, and hey, nobody was paying us a premium pay to come to work. We couldn't stay home. Well, just consider yourself fortunate. I run all over this country, man, especially the eastern half of this country in the Midwest, driving a truck. And it's a privilege, but also, you had to do what you had to do. There was another guy that called in months ago, man, and it really sounded like Chris. I can't remember his name, but he was all, and this was back the time when you was challenging people that at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to raise our kids. I don't care if they shut the schools down for 2 years. Ultimately, it's our responsibility. And this guy could not grasp that, hey, I got bills in my house, and I get that. And you agree with him at the time. And I think it was T. Nicole, maybe one of the beautiful young ladies was pointing out that, hey, there are subsidies, there are things that are out here that are supposed to be in place for us, and it's and it's not always like that, but it's just unfortunate, man, that we continue to pile on those that were able to do it, but at the same time, we never read the farm bill. We never look at, I'll give you one example and I jump off here in my rant. Supposedly the economy was doing so well this year, but the economy was propped up through tech companies that it did well. A lot of these Zoom companies that just, a lot of companies just did very well. But also the stock market was, the government came in and brought up all these junk bonds from Walmart, all these tech companies, and we never focus on it. We never focus on it. And like you said, and we're just continually being pushed into this classism, fighting ourselves, and the real pimp, just just goes unscathed. Like Elon Musk, these guys speak a word and change markets, and we just don't react to it. But let us get a few pennies, man, and here come the crabs, man. Nate, always good to talk to you. Love the show. As Drop would say, you got any questions for me?
No, I don't,
All
brother.
right,
Thank you for the
all right,
call.
everybody.
Take it
Yes,
easy, man. That's brother 252. He's down in the Carolinas, I think. He said, "Do you have any questions for me?" That is what Drop says. Yeah, he made it so a lot of excellent points, but there at the end, as soon as the people get a little bit of money, the powers that be want to snap it from you. Oh, they getting $300 a week. Oh boy, it's gonna make them lazy now. Don't give them too much. They might, I don't know, start their own business and not go back and work in your sweatshop. Oh, they getting $300 a week. Oh boy, we got to shut that down because they's gonna get lazy. The hell? $300 a week? Class warfare. They want to force people to go back out to jobs that not paying them what they deserve, not giving them benefits, not giving them the work conditions. That's the real reason, I believe, as to why people in Ohio are not going back, because it ain't attractive. They don't want to fucking work there. And that's okay. That's okay. Make it more attractive, sweeten up the pot, fatten the goose, put some more incentives and, benefits on the table. And guess what? People will show up. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Nate? This is Brian.
Hey, what's up, Brian? Good morning to you.
Hey, what's going on, man? I love the topic today. I love the direction of thought of the last speaker, man. I think one of the biggest problems that we face as a people is we consume the logic of an illogical system. It's one that takes that is not consistent. It makes working people feel like us getting our due is some kind of charity, and them getting their due is just the nature of things. So let me give you an example. This talk about workers not being willing to, work at a wage that they can't survive. That's a base level positive thing. That's smart. The fact that if the wages that people make are not enough for them to be able to pay and cover their basic means of survival, then why the hell would anyone be hot to trot to go? The brother asked, well, what is a good wage? And then he conflates the idea of what is a livable wage, which is what people are asking for, with quote unquote a dream job. There's some in between in there, brother. There's some in between in there. The idea that if you make $10 an hour, you can't pay rent and eat, leave aside if you have medicine, or if you have medical needs, that you can't get those met. So we live in a society that teaches us that that's okay, that it's basically all on you, and that if a company pays $10 an hour, you don't have to take the job, right? That's what they say. This is America. If you don't like the job, you don't have to take it. Then the minute the supply and demand changes against the employers, against the wealthy people, then they start with their whole other logic, which is opposite from what they normally say, which is the people don't want to take these jobs. It's like, no, like you said, if $10 an hour is not what we want, we ain't taking it until you change it. But now they're suffering from this, basic boycott of these horrible jobs with terrible conditions. And now they're trying to squeeze people and force people into taking it. So I agree with you 100% on that. Here's another way to look at this. I was hanging with some homies from back in the day. And but before I got there, I stopped at a gas station. All right. I was getting we were playing cards, so I was stopping to get my, my little drink and whatever before we, for the game. And I just happened to look at the Little Debbie's because it's right there on the stand, when you first walk in. Little Debbie's are $2.22 for two Little Debbie's, and that was a special. Little Debbie's, back when that brother was working in a restaurant type job, were 25 cents a piece. Now, that job where that brother was working may have paid, I don't know, $7, $8, $9, $10 an hour, let's say. That $7, $8, $9, $10 an hour was probably barely enough to make ends meet when rents were also 2 or 3 times less expensive, and a Little Debbie was 5 times less expensive. The wages stay the same, and the costs continue to rise. But I'll stop here. There's so much more I want to say on this because, I write about economy. I study these things, and the fact of the matter is that the logic that they impose upon us, that it's just on you, and that an employer who doesn't come to Cincinnati because they don't get offered enough bonuses and freebies and welfare for the rich, that's okay. And they bust their butts to tax us more to make it more plausible and attractive for these businesses to come here. But let a working person do the same thing. Oh, we're the laziest criminal, sit on the couch, eat Doritos people that you ever met. And so it just shows there's 2 Americas, there's 2 different logics, and there's 2 different evaluations on the same type of behavior in this thing that I agree with you is class warfare. So that's I'll just stop there, brother, because I'm very curious to hear what other people have to say about all this.
All right, Brian, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you. Yep, that's Brian. No Tell everybody, be safe out there, brother. Yeah, straight up class warfare. I agree with everything he said. He's right. It's a class thing because we always hear about how, when these businesses got to have certain packages so they can attract certain type of workers. These are white collar workers. But, if you're in the service industry, you're supposed to take whatever they tell you to take just so you can have a job. The fuck? That's not how that works. And then you got these quotes from these local people here, like Jill Meyer. Somebody needs to sit down with Jill Meyer and share with her the details of the study that the Women's League just did about the economic upward mobility of Black women. So she can understand that. What jobs are you talking about? You talking about the jobs that don't pay $15 an hour, Jill? And you applauding the sucky MC Republican governor for rolling back federal money. This ain't even coming from the state. This is federal money. Free money. And you applauding that. Shame on Jill Meyer for trying to force people back into jobs that underpay them just so you can say our numbers are better. Our members' numbers are better. Get the hell out of here. She wouldn't do that. Jill, I don't know what she making at the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber, but she wouldn't work for the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber if they didn't offer her an attractive package. She wouldn't do the job. But they want to force you to go take jobs that are not worth your time and energy just so you can have the dignity of work. Knock it off. Knock all that off. Ain't nobody trying to work to the bone. Who's trying to do that? I'm trying to take care of these bills. Period. Stack some chips. I don't necessarily have to work myself like a fucking slave to do that in somebody's kitchen, busting tables for somebody's restaurant. You don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. Stack your chips, stay at home, start your own business. Stack your chips and stay home and fucking relax, man. It's tough out here. I just look at things differently. I don't have no problem with it. And this country is made, man, it's all kind of people sitting around with their feet laid up, making good money, ain't doing a damn thing. and they got jobs. It's people, man, and some of these profits and nonprofits around this city that aren't doing a damn thing and making big money, nice salaries, ain't doing shit. Ain't doing a damn thing. Going to lunch every day. What we gonna have for lunch today? Oh shit, tacos. So that's how I feel about it. Now, in a second, I want to switch gears and I want to talk about this so-called anti-corruption thing that's been going on, because one thing that happened this week is that you had Greg Landsman, who had a proposed ordinance about campaign finance reporting that was, at least in his opinion, he thought it would help restore trust in City Hall. And this comes after 4 council members have been arrested in the past year and a half. And guess what happened? Everybody voted it down, Democrats and Republicans. And I'm trying to figure out why. Now, I don't know. Is this because it would hold council to accountable? City council was unanimous on that other dumb issue 1, issue 2, which is not going to stop a damn thing whatsoever. All it's going to do is give council tools once somebody is already dealing with legal issues. But I thought the Greg Landsman's proposal, I'm going to reach out to Greg this morning, actually. Maybe we can get him. He was the only person that voted for it. I thought that his ordinance, well, here's his ordinance. His ordinance would have required council members and the mayor to disclose within 48 hours any campaign contributions above $200. That would have included cumulative donations. So if a donor gave $199 one time and then $2, let's say a week later or a month later or 2 months later, that would have counted once it crossed the $200 threshold. The ordinance would also have created a new website so members of the public could see and shift through those donations in real time, making it easier to see where politicians are getting their money and what potential conflicts of interest might exist. Greg, here's a quote attributed to Greg Landsman, quote, "This is part of really cleaning up City Hall and restoring trust." And he was the only person to vote for it. And I'd like to fucking know why. I'd like to know from these council members why they didn't vote for that. I want to know why that's a bad idea. But y'all running right here cheerleading and pom-pom waving for these stupid ass issue 1 and issue 2. This not gonna stop a damn thing. I want to know want to donate. I want to see that website. That would be interesting to me. I want to know how much money you taking from developers. That's a question I'm gonna ask for every person running for council. How much money you taking for developers? What developers you taking money from? So get ready for that, because we needs to know. If we're going to do the whole anti-corruption thing, then let's do it. Let's stop halfway doing things just because it gets some media. If we seriously about creating a new atmosphere and holding people accountable and taking the power away from the developers, then let's do it. Let's do it. But something tells me that this might just cut a little bit too much to the bone. Oh, thank you so much. This might cut just a little bit too much to the bone, right? We might get a little too much information, because maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't have a problem with the council members and the mayors having to disclose within 48 hours any campaign contributions above $200. And I'll tell you why. It's because you should be managing your books anyway. You should have this information. It should be readily available. If somebody puts in a request for a council member or the mayor to disclose your campaign contributions, it should be a phone call away. It shouldn't be hard. You got to document it anyway for your own reporting purposes. It shouldn't be that difficult. So I just don't get it. Somebody's going to have to help me with this one. What's wrong with having a website so that members of the public can see and sift through donations in real time? I don't understand that. What's wrong with that? Why did all of the members of City Council vote against this? Maybe there's some other details, and I fully admit, maybe there's some other details I just don't know about. But on the surface, I don't see what the problem is. I don't see no problems. Let's go to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Nate.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, it's Greg Landsman. How are you?
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
I'm good. I thought I could shed some light on the ordinance if that would be helpful.
That would be very helpful, because I'm trying to figure out why your colleagues voted it down.
I was very surprised. I'll bring it back because I think it's so important, but essentially It's really straightforward. Because we vote every week, it would require us to disclose contributions that are above $200 within 48 hours. And if they want it to be 72 hours, it's fine. The idea is immediate disclosure so that people know who's given, and we can, bring about greater transparency and ultimately rebuild trust. So the website is sort of secondary, though it's, I think, really important that you have a publicly facing website that's here, that we run, the city runs, so that, if there's an issue, and we can fix it quickly, and, like a glitch or whatever, and it does what we need it to do. The state has a portal that you can use, but it doesn't allow you to do all of the things that we would need. And a website is very inexpensive to build. So in the updated version, I'll just lay out what it would cost, which is next to nothing. And once it's up and running, members of council and the mayor would be required to disclose contributions that they get within 48 hours. And again, it's part of a larger effort to rebuild trust and bring about greater transparency and ultimately get to a place where people really believe in what's happening at City Hall again.
Somebody wants to know, why did Betsy Sunderman question you like that? Now, I'm asking that question in the dark because I didn't watch the city council, so I don't know where the question is coming from, but it might be something there. So that's why I throw it out there.
I don't. Most of the legislation I bring forward, I get cross-examined like that. I don't think it's unhelpful necessarily. I think pushing and prodding on legislation is great. I think asking questions is great. Ultimately, we want to pass something that has gone through the ringer, so to speak. But yeah, I'm not sure why my legislation in particular gets her as excited as it seems to. But nonetheless, you answer the questions, and in this case, I assumed that it would be unanimous. I mean, this is one of the big issues that we're facing, and the issue of restoring trust and getting to a place where there is the kind of transparency and reforms in place that people feel confident in. And I was shocked, honestly, that it didn't pass. That folks voted against it. So I'll bring it back up. Clear about what it would take to build the website, which is next to nothing. Those of you, your listeners, or many of them have built their own websites. It's really just a Google Doc, really, allowing people to post the information. They cited a number of reasons to vote against it, that it would be, there's this other website that the state has, and isn't it duplicative, which is a resolvable, and certainly not, a real issue in my mind. It's also, they thought it would be a lot of work, extra work, which I think is, not right in terms of what people expect us to do, And again, we vote every week. You have the right to know who's contributing.
I agree 100% on that. I'm reading here that it appears that your colleagues had an issue with the 48-hour window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had an issue with that part of it.
I said, look, if you want to make it 72 hours, so one of my colleagues said, well, what if you're out of town?
Right.
I say, well, when you get back in town and you get to the mailbox, that's when it starts. It's when you receive the check. It just seems like a lot to, worry about, when it's a pretty straightforward thing. Do you want immediate disclosure or not? And although I think it's the right number, maybe it's 250, but ultimately those contributions should immediately go online so that people can see. And I think it will be one of the biggest, deterrents to people trying to use money to influence the process. If if they know that their check is going to be disclosed in and around a vote, which is what we want to get rid of completely. Even when it's, sometimes people think, well, it's, I support this person, but because they have business in front of council, it's not. It's incredibly problematic. So don't do it. And so, and the best way to get, some of that, resolved, or you make it harder or less likely, is to just say, we're going to disclose these contributions.
Mm-hmm. It just seems as if a whole lot of talking out of both sides of their mouths. Like, some of these folks on council was all for issue 1 and issue 2, even though it's duplicative. I think it was unnecessary in the sense that the system, the way it was set up, worked with council members that were under indictment or facing some kind of criminal charges. They had no problem with that. Yeah. But in this case, it seems like they're arguing that a website would be duplicative, and that we've already got one from the state of Ohio. I'm like, wait a minute, you just used a different argument on a different level of the corruption, issue. It just doesn't seem to be very consistent to me.
I will tell you, Nate, I went in there assuming it would be unanimous. I mean, I really did, because it's really straightforward, simple, and it's not new. Federal requirements include immediate disclosure for certain checks, and that's a 48-hour. It's a 48-hour deal. You got to post it within 48 hours, and we worked on it for months. I introduced it in November. And months we worked on it to get it right and to make sure that, it made the most sense and that, we could get it done. I was really sort of beside myself that folks weren't going to agree to it, but I don't give up on stuff, as you know. So I'll tweak it and put it back in front. And, ultimately it may need to go to voters, because my sense is if you put this in front of voters, issue 1 and issue 2 passed overwhelmingly. I suspect 90% of voters support this. Right. It's pretty straightforward. When you get a check, it shouldn't take a couple days. It shouldn't take more than a couple days for you to upload it so that we can see who's given to who.
Right. Well, Greg, listen, thank you for your time this morning, and we'll be watching, man. We'll stay in touch.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep, take it easy. That's Greg Landsman. City Council member Greg Landsman. Appreciate his time this morning. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm going to reach out to these council members. I'm going to ask them, like, wait a minute, how you going to be for issue 1 and issue 2 when that was duplicative? But now all of a sudden you're not for this. What are you hiding? That's my question. What are you hiding? Any council member who wrote against this, it makes me feel like you're hiding something, like you don't want us to know where your money's coming from in real time. Because these campaign finance reports come out, but typically it's like after the election. It's like later. We want to know in real time so we can actually respond in real time. And all these folks down here on city council was always talking about this anti-corruption code. Okay, so where's your idea that's going to really deal with the substance of it and not just be used for political grandstanding like issue 1 and issue 2? I know the voters voted for it, but still, I know we had some technical difficulties. It seems like my cam was slowed down. I was in slow motion. It was stopping and erratic. That's Facebook, man. Facebook's been messing with me for months now. And let me look on my end. Yeah, it's Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sister Iris. Appreciate it. Yeah, Lynn writes, we should demand this. I agree. We should demand it, Lynn. Tracy writes, he has the coolest voice. Tabitha writes, why is it so hard to be fair? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I'm reading the comments from these council members, like Liz Keating talking about it sets you up for failure. How does it set you up for failure? Are you irresponsible, Liz Keating? Is that what this is all about? Hold on one second. I think I know what the issue is. Hold on one second here. I need to address something. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, I might take a quick pause for the calls and then we'll come right back. I think I know what the issue is. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Don't go anywhere. You still got me I ain't going nowhere, right? Hold on one second. All right, I think I've dealt with the issue. We'll see here. I think so. Yeah. I think so. I don't know. You tell me. So yeah, we talked to Greg Landsman just for a minute there. He gave us a deal. I don't have a problem with it. The ordinance would have required council members and the mayor to disclose within 48 hours. Make it 72 hours. Make it a week. Any campaign contributions above $200. And also a website where people, the public, can sift through and see donations in real time. Yeah. Because then we can say, oh, wait a minute. You just took a donation from these developers and you're about to vote on their development deal. Let's see where it happens. Maybe some of these council members don't want that. Bessie Sunderman talk all this issue about anti-corruption, but this seems to me to be a logical step. Can you put a price tag on your proposal? Now you want to talk about price tags on proposals. You can't put a price tag on public trust. That was the the response from Greg Landsman. Good response. He's right about that. You can't put a price tag on public trust. See, that's how they do, man. Oh, it's going to cost too much to build a website. No, it's not. $5,000 at the most. You got your website. It's not going to take that much money to build a fucking website. Stop it. Stop. See, it just goes to show you who's real and who's not. So Bessie Sunderman and Christopher Smithers run around beating their chest with issue 1 and issue 2 because they sponsored it. But it's not going to stop anything. It's not going to really do anything, quite honestly. But it sells well on Down the Dow Radio. Oh, they love that. Oh, she's getting something done. But see, what we need to know is who's giving who the money. Who's paying you for your campaign? Because like I said, I mean, nothing has really changed, folks. To this point, as we sit here right now, we spent all this time talking about text messages and corruption, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed whatsoever. As a member of city council, you can still meet with developers prior to voting on their development. You can still ask them for campaign donations. They can still give it to you, and it's all legal. It's all legal. Nothing has changed. So people run around here thinking because we passed issue 1 and issue 2 that something is different now. Nothing is different. There's been no serious attempts at really putting in some anti-corruption efforts, and that's because these members of city council obviously don't want to really do it. They want to act like they are with issue 1 and issue 2, right? Yeah, I'm glad it passed. More accountability. Huh? That's not giving you accountability. Maurice writes, they don't want us to know where the money comes from. Nate, welcome to Facebook Hates You Club. Yeah, Facebook. That might have been Facebook. It might have been on my end. Amina writes, I don't hear them complaining either, but I do work in a hospital, and I would say there's at least 100 or so open positions available. Entry-level positions, food service, and cleaning services have always had a big turnover. They are working short staff, and that's just one hospital. Brent writes, Nate, when you find out the real issue, you better apologize to Facebook. I apologize, Facebook. Rodney writes, they don't want you to know where the money comes from because they're taking money from big business. Yeah, and it's legal. It's legal. Like I said, it's legal for a city council member to meet with a developer ahead of a development. It could be a project that they're going to be dealing with and debating on in the near future. It's legal for a council member to ask for donations, to receive donations, and then to go vote wherever the way they want to vote. That's all legal. That's all legal. How is that any different than what PG Sittenfield's being accused of? How is that any different? How are we stopping corruption? So you got all these people running for council. Those people right now can be meeting with developers that have development deals that are going to be in front of them if they get on city council. They can meet with them, talk to them about the virtues of the plan. During that meeting, they can ask for campaign donations, receive them, get the money, spend it. And if they get on council, they can vote any way they want to. And that's all legal. I'm just saying, I think that we need a deeper dive and more processes in place if we're really seriously going to try to get more accountability. And part of that is transparency. Bessie Sunderman talking about, can you put a price tag on your proposal? Price tag? Price tag? This is just duplicating the process and adding more time and money to it. This is Liz Keating. You know, her family got a history of, you already know. So I ain't surprised to hear, I guess it trickles down. It's in the bloodline. Here she is talking about it's just duplicating the process. You didn't say that about issue 1 and issue 2, and that was super duplicative. But yeah, y'all, everybody got behind issue 1 and issue 2. We just had to have it, even though if you think about it, Tamaya Denard, the system worked. Jeff Pastor, the system worked. PG Sinfield, the system worked. These individuals were indicted. In the case of Tamaya Denard, she was charged and pled guilty. They were removed from city council in a timely manner. We never had a situation on city council where people were just like, I'm not leaving. Yeah, I know I got an indictment. That never happened. Each and every one of them stepped away from council. But we just had to have issue 1 and issue 2. No, like I told you, you just gave Bessie Sunderman and Christopher Smitherman something to beat their chest about and go on down to down radio, right wing radio, and say they did something. But they didn't really do anything at all. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow for some people, but we keeps it real here on the Nathan Ivey Show. They didn't do a damn thing. Talking about it's duplicating the process. You like duplicating processes. You just did it with issue 1 and issue 2. Now, all of a sudden, we don't want to duplicate processes because the state has a website. When Bessie Sunderman was out here arguing that we had to have issue 1 and issue 2 because it was particular to Cincinnati. We got to do this. It's about Cincinnati. Give city council control. But when it comes to us understanding who's getting the money, who's giving you the money, over $200, all of a sudden, how much does a website cost? About $5,000. Tops. That's tops. I mean, you really get it much cheaper than that. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Am I on, Nathan?
Yes, you are.
Hey, this is Kirk Flood. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Kirk Flood?
Okay, I'd like to comment on what you are just talking about the donations.
Sure.
And Nathan, there had to have been a lot of money floating around, a lot of palms being greased repeatedly by corporate people, not just the city council members, but to bureaucrats and others. Because how did these people get caught? And I realize that some of them just been charged. But, if you're a politician and this is your first time down the rabbit hole, you're going to be real wary of what's going on, that you might. But if you've been taking money over and over, then you're clueless to when the FBI is really the one that's offering you the money. I don't know if I made that clear. In other words, it happened 50 times, and on the 51st time, oh, it's the FBI that's giving me the money this time, and I'm busted. Okay. And, I think what happened was, perhaps in the case of Jeff Pastor, he was flying in that private plane to Miami, Florida, and, he bought into it hook, line, and sinker, because if you believe what the FBI agent said in USA Today, he was asking for $300,000 up front and a monthly stipend, to do that. Now, that wouldn't have happened if that was his first bribe, okay? You know what I mean? So they've all been taking money along. But it's not just the city council people, it's also the bureaucrats. Now, can I go back and talk to what you were talking about before with the removal of the $300 on the unemployment by June 6th?
Sure.
Can I talk about that for a sec? Okay, I'd like to let all your listeners know that the jobs that are not being filled are, that they're forcing people back into the workforce. Okay, it's like bakers and these are all high risk jobs for catching COVID. The province of Ontario and Michigan are still dealing with this COVID and the variants. Okay, people from India coming back into Australia have been fully vaccinated. All right, and they still have this Indian variant. They are forcing poor people, including blacks and whites, poor blacks and poor whites and poor Latinos, back into the workforce. They're playing Russian roulette. These elite are still at their homes in the Hamptons. They haven't come back into New York City. You know what I mean? These rich elites. And they're just rolling the dice that, okay, this will work out. But Nathan, if you get this long haul COVID, you're messed up for life. And there is no Medicare for all in this country. We're the only industrialized nation in the world that does not have Medicare for all, a single payer system. Taiwan was the last domino to fall before us. They were the last one. Now every other industrialized nation in the world has Medicare for all. So now they're forcing you back into the workforce in these high-risk jobs, okay? They legislatively protected your employers, okay, from lawsuits. So now you're in the hands of the least ethical people, okay, that for catching this, getting long-term bad effects, not being able to sue your employer for him just being who cares? You know what I mean? And then not getting Social Security disability. Okay, I'd like to point this out. Okay, in San Francisco, NBC network, NBC television, the NBC affiliate there, the I team for NBC Bay Area News. Okay, it was Vicki Nguyen, an Asian lady, a reporter. Not a one-part series, but a three-part series, showed how the entire Department of Labor, every bit of it, is corrupt on this OSHA whistleblowing. Okay, 97% rejection rate. And the 3% that are accepted for these OSHA whistleblowers, they're for like the city of Cleveland, the airport. It's not corporate ones, okay? Corporate employers that get charged. A government employer, okay, you might win your OSHA case. But if it's a corporate employer, you're rejected, okay? So the worker that they're trying to do, take this money away, okay? We just don't know enough about this COVID yet to make any intelligent decisions as a government about sending people back to work. Canada is still offering $2,000 a month. That's Canadian dollars, okay? My cousin in Glasgow, Scotland, is getting 3,000 British pounds per month. That's about $1.19, $1.26. It varies day by day. And yet here, they were forcing these people back into the workforce, and that's because the businesses want it, you know what I mean? And it's these lower level, all of these positions, there are like about 12 of them. They're all high risk for catching COVID. And if you get sick, you don't have Medicare for all. If you get disabled, because that's what happens. Hey, have you heard of Texas Roadhouse steak restaurants? The Texas Roadhouse chain?
I believe so.
Chain?
I believe so, Kurt.
Okay. The CEO committed suicide because he caught COVID and he had constant ringing in his ears. So there's one of the richest men in America, all right, who presumably had the best health care that there was, and he commits suicide due to this. So we just don't know about this COVID. Now I'd like to bring up one thing.
Yes, I got a little bit more time for you. Go ahead.
Okay, we have enough to pay for housing. We have enough to pay for Medicare for all. In the 2008 financial meltdown, Nathan, and this is going to shock you. I'm glad you're sitting down. If you have any hot beverages, set them aside. Okay, but $1 trillion. If you look at Grasping Large Numbers website, $1 trillion stacked on top of each other is 62,000 miles. Okay, so $4 trillion would take you to the moon. Okay, if you stacked them one on top of each other. All right, and they stole 29 trillion out of the economy, and they don't want to give 50 million for housing. Medicare for all would have only cost 6 trillion. Okay, but here's the thing, Nathan. They're doing it again. If you saw the movie The Big Short with Steve Carell and Christian Bale, okay, at the very end of the movie, they're doing it again. There's also a documentary called The Con.tv. Okay, it costs $30, but it's 5 episodes. And at the very end, it says they're doing it again. And they point it, it's like NQOM. They don't call it subprime mortgage anymore. But what distinguishes the Con TV from the Big Short? The Big Short was art imitating life. Okay, the Con TV was a documentary, and it centered in Ohio. And one of the stars of it was former Ohio Attorney General Mark Dan. All right, he figures in prominently. Okay, but the point was they had a strong case to bust these people on Wall Street. And it was Eric Holder, Obama, and before him it was George Bush and his Treasury Secretary, and before him it was Clinton, and before him it was Reagan and George Bush Sr. We're getting thieved from both sides of the economy. Now, here's the incredible validation.
I got 30
when Eric
seconds for you,
Holder
Kurt.
said we're not going to prosecute these people. Okay, I'll hurry up. When Eric Holder said we're not going to prosecute these people because it's too complex to prosecute, the head of the fraud division, he's the number 3 person. Holder would be number 1, the Attorney General. Lanny Brewer would be number 2, okay, who went along with the cover-up. And Paul Pelletier was number 3. 70% of his prosecutors resigned in protest when they refused to prosecute this $29 trillion theft. And now they're doing it again. So at the same time that they're saying, we don't have the money to pay you $300 a week, they're getting ready to steal another $29 trillion. And Steve Chabot is the representative in the House of Representatives, right?
Hey, Kurt, I appreciate the call, man. I got to make a move.
Okay, all right. I'll let you go. But Steve Chabot hid the names of all these businessmen getting money. They were legislatively hid. So you have a strong case. I'll post some more in Friends of Nathan Ivey. I'll post some more on this website, and I'll post some more in Greater Cincinnati Politics. Look for Kurt Flood, people.
All right.
Thanks, Nathan, for your time.
Yeah, thank you for the close. I appreciate it. It's a lot he packed in there, but I think I get the gist of it. And I think I agree. Appreciate it. That's Kurt Flood, everybody. You know who the real Kurt Flood is? Look it up. Interesting. 513-873-7134. We've been talking about the fact that spineless Mike DeWine has no spine. He's going to end the $300 federal jobless benefit on June 26th, even though it's set to expire in September. I think it's class welfare. He's trying to force people back into jobs they don't really want to work. If you want people to go back to some of these substandard jobs, make them more attractive, fatten the goose, add some benefits, make people want to be involved with it. Straight up class warfare. Good morning to you. So we got another example this week of the double standards that we all know exist in the NFL. They sell the NFL, the National Football League, like it's a meritocracy. Well, it didn't work that way for Colin Kaepernick. And then this week, I'm not sure how much sports entertainment you consume, but Tim Tebow, remember Tim Tebow? I think he was like the quarterback from Florida, and he went on to the NFL, had a little bit of success, like one season, it just didn't work. And now he's been jumping around doing, I'm not sure what he's been doing, but He looks like he is going to get a 1-year contract signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's being converted from quarterback to tight end. And so this past week, a lot of people were like, wait a minute, Colin Kaepernick couldn't get a job, but you're going to give Tim Tebow a job? What the hell? And of course, they're true. You know, the reason why Colin Kaepernick didn't get a job is because you don't have any consciously black-owned NFL teams. And so they all collude and conspire together against him. That's exactly what happened. They colluded and conspired against him to get him out the league because at the time they didn't appreciate his message. What you mean talking about abolish the police and challenging the police? They didn't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear that. So they pushed him out the league. And that happens a lot. That can happen. That's what I said. The number one thing, like to me, the NFL, they you know, Jay-Z is now the entertainment director, and they got a black guy as the director of the halftime of the Super Bowl show, but they don't have any black ownership. To me, that's what equity looks like with the NFL. That's what equity looks like with the NFL. And until the NFL gets a consciously majority black-owned team, there's no equity. The game itself is majority black, but the ownership is majority non-black. And so, again, if you start to create a culture or say things they don't like, they'll push you up out of here. That's what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Nobody can convince me otherwise on that. Now people are saying, well, what about Tim Tebow? He's been removed for the game for 8 years. How's he getting shot? He's getting shot because the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who simultaneously, his name is Ahmed Khan. He's also the principal in the Black News Channel. Remember that Black News Channel? He's the principal. He bought into that. So he loves black culture. I'm saying until you get a majority black-owned team, really you should have a majority black-owned team, and there should be one team that's majority owned by the players, the former, current, and future players of the NFL. Then they would have an impact on the environment, and people like Colin Kaepernick wouldn't get pushed out the league. But let me go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good morning to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I see you talking wicked and spreading false propaganda. First of all, hey man, listen, Tony Huey, dude, you're the worst kind of Negro to ever live. You know, I heard the little shot you took at me in the alt middle after you tried to like show some express some sorrow for Braxton, and I don't like the people we affiliated with, but bro, we didn't need all that. Just say your piece and go. You didn't have to, take a gratuitous shot like that while the man is down. Take a shot at the people who support me.
What shot did he take? I don't remember any shots.
Oh yeah, he said that.
What did he say?
He said that when he was talking about Braxton's 3-day-old story. That he just had to chime in on. That's 3 days old. Wasn't driving the show. It was just driving segments. As if he had anything unique to offer. He just had to say, yeah, I feel sorry for Braxton. I always liked him. I ain't too much on the people he affiliated with. You a low down kind of, huh?
He didn't say anything. How's that negative about Braxton? It's not negative at all.
No, it's negative about the people he affiliated with. He was talking about me in the alt middle.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. You're a low down kind of scummy dude to take a shot at the people supporting the guy who's down. So Tony Huey, your birthday's tomorrow. Listen, bro, if you get 15, 20 minutes between now and tomorrow, go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Why you trying to insult people? All right?
You are sensitive
but
this morning.
That was one of the lowest, weakest shots that anybody's ever took at any of us. You have a strong black collective, and people trying to divide and conquer. Every time there's a black collective, somebody's trying to divide and conquer, including black people. That's what I'm saying. That was so low down a hill. I peeped that. Like, okay, dude, you a sucker for that. And I was going to let it go till you started talking about Colin Kaepernick and Tim Tebow. Urban Meyer owes Tim Tebow his life for what he did for him in college. Winning those national titles and whatnot, and him going to Ohio State, being able to take time off and coach, then go back to Ohio State, things like that. Urban Meyer owes that guy. There's no comparison between the two, between Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick.
Sure it is.
You yourself, after no, it's not.
Sure,
Stop it, because you yourself. Okay, you can tell yourself that now.
No, I could tell you that. I mean, I could tell you what the comparison is.
You can front to this audience all you want.
I'm not fronting for the audience.
But the fact remains.
I'm just simply answering your question. We're having a conversation.
Okay, as you would say, I know I'm wrong, but can I get it all out first?
Absolutely, you can, brother.
Oh, okay. On this very program, the weekend Colin Kaepernick did the little tryout shenanigans he pulled.
Right.
You yourself came on this show that following Monday and opened the show. Your first words were, "Did you see the Colin Kaepernick tryout?" I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I thought of Fame. He don't want to play. And Fame's been saying that, trying to tell us that. The fool don't want to play. He's happy being an activist.
You're missing the point, though, brother.
Was able to rebrand him. No, you missing the point.
No, actually, you're missing the point.
I told you. No, you.
Would you like for me to enlighten you?
Go ahead, and I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
Let me enlighten you. The point you just made is irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether after he was ostracized from the NFL, whether he wants to play or not. That ain't the point. The point is that at some point he did want to play in the NFL, and he was blackballed because of the things that he was saying. That's the real point. I'm sure that at some point after he got blackballed, he decided F the league. Sure, he moved on at that point.
Was he blackballed or did he settle for money?
He was blackballed.
But everybody he settled for money too.
He was blackballed.
Did he not settle for money?
Did he not settle for money?
Yes or no question, no qualification. Did Colin Kaepernick reach a settlement with the NFL and took money to not come back?
I'm not sure about that. I seem to remember that he did reach a settlement years afterward. But it has nothing to do with the fact that he was blackballed. That's the reason why they paid him a settlement, because they knew they did him wrong. That's what they do. They pay you a settlement when you can argue successfully some damages. That's when you get a check, and that's the whole point. You trying to talk about stuff that happened afterward. Colin Kaepernick was blackballed and forced out of the NFL because of the things that he was saying about the police and the culture in America. That's what happened.
The way he was fronting and exploiting black pain.
How was he exploiting black pain? Because he was trying to use his platform to talk about the issues that relate to black people and police. That's not exploiting black pain.
None of this was a problem for him when he was starting and talking smack to Clay Matthews. None of it was an issue for him. Although Sandra Bland got killed while he was a starter and a star, he said nothing about this then.
Irrelevant.
See, everything's irrelevant. Way to be.
No, everything's not irrelevant. But you've been saying a lot of irrelevant stuff this morning. Nathan, the reductionist. I'm just saying.
The fact remains, he didn't want to play. He realized there was more money and longer health in activism, especially with a check coming for $15 million, and he took $15 million from the NFL in the settlement. His boy kept playing.
You contradicted yourself.
His boy. I did not contradict myself.
You just contradicted yourself, brother. I'm trying to help you out. On one hand, you saying that Colin Kaepernick had no case. The NFL did nothing wrong, but they gave him $15 million in a settlement.
Off a $10 billion plate. Here,
I'm
go play, man. We got things to do.
It don't matter.
We got things to do.
They wouldn't have settled with him unless they admitted on some level that they did something wrong. Even Roger Goodell, since all this has happened, has come out and said that we did Colin wrong and we should have listened to him. I don't know why this is not sticking. Why is it so hard for this to compute for you?
And Bill Clinton apologized for slavery, but we still getting fucked up. What does all that matter, man?
You just Mr. Irrelevant today.
They're more
That's 3 for
irrelevant
3.
stuff.
Another
Exactly.
irrelevant point. But go right ahead, brother.
Nathan was qualification all across the nation. You understand? You will not take this Colin Kaepernick L. He played you.
Yeah, he played me.
He did not give a damn about he's nothing but an athletic Sean King.
An athletic
Sean King. Playing on
King.
black emotions. An athletic Sean King. He don't give a damn. Where's he been since?
The
Black people
NFL
still getting effed up. Where's he been since, Nathan?
The
Where's he
NFL
been?
paid
Where's
him
he
out
been,
in a
Nathan?
settlement
Answer the question.
because they realized they did the brother wrong. If they realized, if they didn't feel like he had a case or an argument, they wouldn't have paid him out. Period.
Where has he been?
Period.
Where has he been since the settlement, Nathan?
Irrelevant. You 4 for 4 now. Irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Black people still getting their head. How's that irrelevant? You just had a damn cop go to jail 2 months ago. Derek Chauvin. Black people still getting their heads busted. What do you have to say about baby girl up in Columbus?
Also,
where the nigga been, Nation?
Also, now we expect for Colin Kaepernick to speak to every issue and stop police brutality around the country. I think your expectations are too high, brother. Your expectations way too high for one football player. He's supposed to stop police brutality. Come on, man. That's unrealistic.
No, you the same one that be talking about some football players. They should all go to HBCU. You expecting too much of an athlete. I'm letting you know that's what he is. Is a jock. A dumb jock. And he's getting played by the people behind him. Nike, Penny. He lost nothing. He lost nothing. Some of this makes me think that this is really just the Truman Show.
He lost the ability to continue playing in the NFL.
He lost nothing. He was getting cake the whole time.
I'm
NFL
just saying.
And Nike.
If the number one thing you want to do in your life is to continue your football career in the NFL and that's taken away from you, and yeah, you make some money somewhere else, it don't matter. You were taken away from your true love, period.
What did he have to say about Shorty Bakaya in Columbus?
Irrelevant.
Quiet as kept.
You 5 for 5 now. Irrelevant.
He already brought that one up.
It don't matter.
You just being dismissive. And
I'm not being dismissive. I'm just making sure we stay on focus to what's relevant to the conversation.
I'm staying on focus.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Because you ain't even talking about Tebow anymore. You're talking about all this other Micaiah Bryant, all this stuff that's irrelevant to the conversation.
No, it's not.
Because
it all goes back to the fact that Colin Kaepernick never wanted to play ball. He just wanted to be an activist.
Mm-hmm.
Once he started getting that dough, Tim Tebow brought championships, winning a good atmosphere. Urban Meyer's repaying that.
Tim Tebow never took a team to the NFL championship. Colin Kaepernick did.
All right, and that coach is no longer in the NFL.
I'm just saying.
So
your resume is supposed to be everything.
Back in the NFL, if that coach was in the NFL, I'm sure he would cut Colin Kaepernick a holler.
Maybe.
The guy who Tim Tebow's one of the top 30 college players you've ever seen in your lifetime.
And?
You know what I'm saying? And the guy he did that magic with is saying, thank you. Here. That's all.
So like I told you, the NFL is not a meritocracy. And like you just proved my point. Tim Tebow's getting a shot, not because he is an athlete and has earned it. He's getting a shot because the white dude that's the coach is his buddy. Period. That's my whole point. Thank you.
It's not like he's just pulling a bum off the street.
He is pulling a bum off the street. He ain't played professionally in 8 years. You got as good a shot to be in shape as like Tim Tebow is.
Okay. Let me show you right here. I'm about to shut all that dumb shit you talking down. Tim Tebow was willing to switch positions to get back in the NFL. Imagine asking a black quarterback to switch positions to get back in the NFL. What kind of fervor would that cause? Huh?
We'll never know.
Exactly.
I don't know how to answer that question. We'll never know.
That question. You ain't roll none of that one. Yeah, look at that. Colin Kaepernick wasn't willing to switch positions. Tim Tebow doing what he did in Florida, willing to do what it takes. Remember that speech he gave?
And Tim Tebow was willing to remain a backup. Most of these NFL teams have 3 quarterbacks, right? You got the starter and then 2 backups. He was willing to get on the team no matter what. I'll be third string. He did. Listen, we can go round and round in circles here, Fame, but at the end of the day, everybody knows.
We're not going in circles. We're going in circles. At the end
everybody
of
knows that the reason
point.
why Tim Tebow is getting a job is because the coach is cool with him. Has nothing to do with what he's going to be able to bring to the team.
No.
And the reason why Colin Kaepernick didn't get a job is because of what he said, and it has nothing to do with what he could actually do for the team. The NFL is not necessarily a pure meritocracy. It matters who you are, who you know, and what comes out of your mouth. Simple as that.
When they were both at the height of their powers, Tim Tebow wasn't allowed around because he was a distraction, just like Colin Kaepernick. You know, a backup quarterback ain't supposed to raise ruckus. Yeah, Tim Tebow, the God stuff and all that. You know, he's God's will, blah, blah. Tim Tebow, they loved him. He was a distraction because he wasn't ready to play. And Urban Meyer was responsible.
He wasn't that good. Stop it.
Exactly.
Stop it. Tim Tebow wasn't that good.
Urban Meyer's repaying him. That's why Urban Meyer's repaying him. I did you dirty in college. You were one of the best college players ever. I did not prepare you for success on the NFL. So here, let me sign you to a one-year contract.
Sounds like
that is really one way, just the club. Can I offer you this as a repayment?
Where
when
they do
Jim
that?
Harbaugh goes back to the NFL, he will probably pay back Colin Kaepernick at some point.
Sounds like white skin privilege. That's what it sounds like to me.
But remember, we have a white quarterback who's switching positions. Just think of what would happen, how worse it would have been if Colin Kaepernick were asked to switch positions. Y'all went crazy when a nigga suggested that he get a haircut.
He was asked to switch positions. He should have been a first stringer. He was willing to be a third stringer.
No. I'm talking about switch total positions.
I'm just saying that is a switching of positions.
Or tight end. It is God.
Everybody know Colin Kaepernick was at the very least backup material. He was willing to be the second backup just to stay on the NFL team. But because of what came out of his mouth and the stance that he took, like if he was on some pro police type stuff, if he was on some like Herschel Walker, pull your bootstrap, pull your pants up, the police are our friends type stuff, he would have been in the NFL. It was because of what he said, and that's the reason why he was blackballed. Everybody know that, man. You should know this too.
No, that's what all the woke people think they know. You know, that's what happens when you let Angela Rye into your conversations and Sean King, people who don't know what the hell they're talking about.
That's the reason why the NFL settled with him.
I couldn't agree less, but I feel like I've been alone on the phone for quite a while with you.
Right.
So I'm just going to reiterate that Tony Huey is one of the most low-down SOBs ever.
I disagree with you.
To take a shot at that man's support group.
Oh, please.
You know,
please.
You're an asshole, sir. And also, Colin Kaepernick and Tim Tebow don't compare. Please stop being intellectually dishonest and raising black people's fears, you know, and support black collectives, unlike Tony Huey's monkey ass.
There you go, man. You was wrong for that. And here you are defending Black Russia, but Black Russia being here going hard at everybody. Like I said, I mean, I've been seeing, you know, nice things, and I'm happy to see it. I far rather be positive than negative, but he go hard in the paint. He be kicking people when they down. He be dancing on people's graves. What happened with Tamaya Denard? He posting all kind of memes. So, I mean, you got to take if you can dish it, you got to be able to take it. Simple as that. I'm not here to defend nobody. Especially not if you one of these people that like to dance on people's graves. I mean, Black Russia danced all over Tamaya Denard's grave. He thought it was funny. But now you don't expect somebody to say something about him. It don't work that way in the chop shop. Everybody can get it. He ain't no different. He gonna get that work too. So put your feelings to the side, Fame, and deal with it. Simple as that. It comes with the territory. It is what it is. Dancing all over the Wendell Young. What do you say about Wendell Young and Kathy Young? Some crazy, but now, see, in his feelings, ain't nobody supposed to say something. Please. I'm gonna say what I want to say. I don't have no problem with people saying something. As long as there's a level to everything here, but just talk about the hypocrisy from the alt middle this morning. That brother's down. He kicked dirt all over Tamaya Denard. Had this meme that was like Tekashi 6ix9ine and her face. Remember that? That was all over Facebook. It was hilarious, wasn't it? But now we ain't supposed to say nothing. Please. Please. Ain't nobody going out like that. I'm just saying, but what I've seen has been nice because, the chop shoppers are very nice people. They're critical, but they're very nice people. And that's all I've been seeing is just niceness. And that's a good thing. And I just project positivity. That's what I'm all about. But if we're going to be real about it and we like counting like who said what, come on now. And I like Black Russia. I like him a lot. Super intelligent guy. But I've said the same thing to him. You be in here going super hard in the paint at everybody. Dancing like, yeah, dinky dinky ding, dancing on people's graves, tap dancing. Yeah. But then when you hit a rough patch, ain't nobody supposed to say nothing. Please. Y'all in the wrong spot. That betrays human nature. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection, the one and only Drop Squad 52, the Black Not Democrat. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Oh, by the way, it's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I've been retired for 4 years, and I'm only 60 years old. What up, Mr. Ivy? Shout out to the alt-middle and all their affiliates. And who the hell is a Tony Huey? I don't even know that dude. But, Mr. Ivy, I just want to say one thing on your outlandish, stupid comparison of Colin Kaepernick and Tim Tebow getting a 1-year deal to play tight end for his former college coach down in Jacksonville, Florida. Mr. Ivy, this ain't nothing. This is about money. Tim Tebow probably ain't going to make the team, but because his former college coach is the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars with the number 1 pick overall from Clemson University, we all know his name, Trevor Lawrence, Golden Locks, the great white savior of the NFL, because there was a time, Mr. Ivy, prior to Trevor Lawrence being drafted number 1, the top 5 quarterbacks in the league were all black. So the NFL had to do something real quick to change that scenario. But back to Colin Kaepernick, Mr. Ivy. One thing you failed you failed to say about Colin Kaepernick and Fane Rothstein. Shout out to Fane Rothstein Sports Investment. He tried to point it out to you that Colin Kaepernick, whose kneeling protest sparked a firestorm of controversy, reached a settlement with the NFL over collusion. Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid filed a collusion lawsuit. They won the lawsuit, but guess what, Mr. Ivy? They signed a non-disclosure agreement, so everything in that settlement is private. Nobody knows. You said he got $10 million. Nobody knows what the amount of the settlement was because Colin Kaepernick, like Fane Rothstein said, wanted to be an activist and not an NFL player because everyone thought that they finally got the NFL owners. Just like you said, Mr. Ivy, they were colluding to keep Colin Kaepernick out. Kaepernick got the lawsuit. We going to court. He was finally going to expose the racist, white supremacists of the NFL owners. But guess what he did, Mr. Ivy? He sold out for them dollars, just like Fane Rothstein said. And that's all I got because you got to trust but verify everything. Colin Kaepernick sold out for the money. If Colin Kaepernick wanted to play in the NFL, he would have played. He did that scam-ass workout back in 2019. You had owners going to watch him, Mr. Ivy. He was going to get a deal. But he figured out a way to back out of it by saying, oh, I ain't getting what I want. I can't. You ain't going to let me have my film crew in, so we leaving. And then he went to the high school and did a little exhibition after all the other teams that came to watch him play at an NFL facility. They all left because they saw Kaepernick don't want to play. He wants to be an activist. And oh, by the way, have you heard anything from Colin Kaepernick lately? No, because that's who Colin Kaepernick is. So that's all I got, Mr. Ivy. And like the Minister of Defense said, like drop, you got any questions?
No questions, sir. Thank you for the call.
Okay, but thank you for letting me get the call in. Y'all be safe out there in the street and wear your mask. Peace out, people.
All right. Speaking of what Colin Kaepernick is doing, he is about to release a book arguing on the virtues of abolishing the police. So if you're a Colin Kaepernick fan, it's just amazing amount of hate that brother still gets. The arguments just don't make any sense. He reached a settlement, so that means he didn't want to play. If you really think about it, it actually means the opposite. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. The NFL reached a settlement on Colin Kaepernick and his lawyer's argument that the NFL owners colluded, meaning they all got together and said, let's not give him an opportunity. And they reached a settlement with him, which means that he must have had some valid points in his argument in order for them to meet a monetary settlement. That's the way settlements work. You know, typically it's a non-disclosure agreement. It's a part of it, an NDA. So I don't know. The hate for Colin Kaepernick is just so real out here, man. So real. And all he did was spark a nation. All he did was touch the culture. But I get it. You know, some people can never do enough. You know what I'm saying? Some of these arguments is wild. And leave Tony Huey alone. Leave Tony Huey alone. Tony is doing his thing. Maurice writes, CVS is hiring. Lynch writes, gots to go. Great people. Have a good Friday. Same to you. Rodney writes, we need to start getting our people on council. Like they say, you want to be a criminal, be a politician. I'll never forget the Keating name and the SNL thievery. Their greed brought us in the 80s, right? Now she on city council, appointed on city council. It is what it is. To the victors go to spoils. The Republican Party, they running things right now in terms of appointments. If the people don't like it, they had an opportunity to do something about it. Now you're stuck. For what, the next 4-year term, I think it is, for that probate court, Judge Winkler, probate court judge. I believe it is 4 years, either 4 or 6. Good morning to you. Anthony writes, I've been working out in public the whole time. Just got my shots last week. Is that right? Yeah. I mean, each one has to do what they think is right on the vaccine. You know, the wifey just got the vaccine. You know, my opinion about the vaccine has changed just because of two things. Like many of y'all know, I'm a cardiac patient. I should have been in first in line in terms of getting the vaccine, but I wasn't because of my fears. But after watching the wifey go through it and getting more information, I felt a lot better about it. And I want to be on the right side of it. I tell you one thing that's interesting is that I don't understand the CDC. Like people, I just read yesterday, there's a baseball player that is fully vaccinated and he just got COVID. So you can still catch COVID even though you're vaccinated, but apparently it's supposed to help you. And that's the minority. It's a small percentage of the people that might actually happen to, and you won't suffer the same symptoms and consequences. So let me see. Tracy writes, I feel like I'm in a lecture hall. That's not good. Kurt just needs to send me the PowerPoint in the email. Oh, y'all ain't feeling Clerk, huh? The real Kurt Flug is a reason why there's such a thing called free agency. You're right about that. Glenn writes, Urban Meyer hooked him up, and that was my whole point in bringing it up, is that the NFL is not a meritocracy. It matters who you know. It matters what you look like, and it matters what you say at your mouth. It's not just about who's the best player. And that's what they try to sell it as. And with Colin Kaepernick, we know it's not true. Same thing with Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds never touched it dirty, but he got blackballed. He got blackballed because the Major League Baseball owners all conspired because they didn't like what he was saying about race and MLB ownership. And they didn't want to help him further the home run record. I mean, this country would be, and some of these owners were far more comfortable with Mark McGwire, Big Red, who obviously was doping. It was cool with that, but when the brother, especially a conscious brother like Barry Bonds, at least conscious in terms of the racial, social, and economic paradigms and dynamics inside the Major League Baseball universe, they pushed him out. So it's not a meritocracy. It's only a meritocracy when it benefits those. And that's the way most things are. The way most things are in this world, to be real with you, is they have all these rules, but damn them rules when they want to do what they want to do. That's the way the world works. The rules is for other people. The people at the top do what they want to do when they get ready to do it, period. And everybody else got to fit in. That's just how the world works. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just telling you what I see. Charlie Winburn writes, good morning, happy and wonderful people. Remember to have some fun today and give zero attention to what you don't want in life. Charles writes, if Tim Tebow is an example of white privilege, then I don't know what it is. Tebow hasn't played in the league for a decade. Tebow also took a knee when he played. But I guess since it was for Jesus and not protecting the humanity of black people, it was okay. What he just said, great point. And again, I'm not mad at Tim Tebow. I mean, because we know life is all about who you know, not necessarily what you know. That's the way everything in this world works. It's about relationships. Okay. I'm not begrudging Tim Tebow. I hope he does great with it. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, I hope he's able to do it. But, I did have to make that point about Colin Kaepernick again. Just keep your eyes open. All right, folks. Is It Just Me podcast today at 12:30. Donnie will be talking current events, perhaps some things that will interest you today. There's a promo circulating. Please like and share it. Let everybody know at 12:30 we'll be live today. Over the weekend, got a couple things going on Sunday. Of course, you got Straight Talk Live. Edna Hall is back. It'll be her second live stream, and we're just going to get better with it. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. She's got an excellent guest set up that'll be talking about what to do during a traffic stop. She got a state trooper who'll be zooming into the show and talking about and giving some tips on what to share with your family during traffic stops, how to interact with the police. Straight Talk is live, is back, hosted by the most iconic host it ever had. That's Edna Howe Parrish. That'll be on Sunday at 10 a.m. Then, of course, you got the lovely ladies of Melanin Insights podcast at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Brother Christian Boykin will be back on Monday live streaming with the Echo Chamber podcast on Monday. And looking for a return for Midday Juice as well with Ask Ashley. Definitely missing her presence and her flows. So a lot going on. Like if you want to connect with me over the weekend, I'm really super accessible. You can hit me up with a direct message. I will respond. My website is up as well, nathanivey.com. You can subscribe there. And if you want to support with a monetary donation, there's a couple ways of doing so. You can become a patron, which is sort of a monthly commitment with some perks and benefits, or a one-time donation via PayPal. Matter of fact, I'll flash it up here for you right there. If that's something you feel inclined to do so. That's what people do in this kind of digital age. They directly appeal to their audience, which I'm doing right now. So again, have an excellent rest of your day. Of course, I'll be live producing the Is It Just Me podcast. So if you want to connect, I'm highly accessible. Let's connect. All right. Have an excellent weekend. I wish everybody the best. And remember our motto. Winners focus on winning. And losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. Back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a fuck, I don't care. Did this for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get him, I got him, I told him it's nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings, I throw all my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you all must spot at the feast. I've been on go mode, show mode, showboat, rowboat.